Hello.
Welcome back.
Welcome to our SideQuest. That's my official intro.
The question is, can we get through an episode without singing? And the answer is no.
I thought we made it through the last SideQuest.
Oh, maybe we did.
I wanted to sing the whole time.
On occasion, we can.
Hi, friends. Welcome to one of our SideQuests. Today, we have a little special guest who is not related to me at all. She just looks exactly like me, but older. I'm just kidding. This is my sister. My sister, Isabel Bowen, and she has a different last name than me because she's married. We bring these side quests to you because we want to share some extra information, stories, and have guests on and not get sidetracked more than we normally do on our regular episodes.
Which is already a lot.
Yes.
Yeah, we already can barely make it through it, as you know. So Isabel is a DIYer, and she has a Instagram, Bowen's Builds, and she and her husband Jacob work on a lot of DIYs that they do around their own house. And then she also is a luxury wedding planner, which I've helped out with a couple of her weddings, and they're beautiful and amazing. And she just does everything. She's like, you know what? I'm going to be really good at this one thing. And then she just makes a business out of it. And then she's like, you know what? I'm not busy enough. I'm going to make another business out of something else that I'm going to teach myself how to do. So let's chat with Isabel a little bit.
Yes, and Isabel's info and her Instagram handle and all her connections will be in the bio as well. So if you want to check her out, you can check her out.
Well, Arly, you obviously know a ton about Isabel, and you have alluded to her multiple businesses. But Isabel, can you tell us about your businesses? Because I probably know the least of everybody here.
So first one would be I started a wedding planning company 5 years ago, and that just flourished. I wouldn't say COVID was the best time to start a wedding planning company, but it happened. And so over the years, I've come to specialize in South Asian and multicultural weddings. So I've got to do a lot of big Hindu, Indian fusion weddings, which is what Arly has helped out with.
Those were so fun.
So fun.
So fun.
And that, I would say I do that part-time now. I used to work contract for a corporate company doing event planning, and so those two kind of combined my time. But wedding planning is so fun. I think I love it because I am so type A, so it allows me to be organized and make my list and do the planning, but also do a lot of design work. And just like DIY and home projects, you have to wait 18 months to see your design come to life.
Mm-hmm.
But it's so rewarding to see it when it's all set up and done, even if it takes forever. And other than wedding planning, doing content creation and DIY and home improvements for Bowen's Builds. So I think it uses two different sides of my brain, because you do have to wait 18 months, a year plus sometimes to see that come to life. With DIY, I can just go and paint my garage door one day and piss off the internet. And
and they're mad.
Oh,
Yeah,
they're still really mad. We were reading comments this morning.
I love the one you tagged us in that was women aren't supposed to paint.
Yeah. I was like, okay, no.
My response was, well, someone better tell our clients that we're not allowed to paint for them.
Yeah.
The internet offers up a very large, weird slice of the country.
Yes, it does.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, that's kind of the combo what's going on right now. Yeah.
And what is your wedding business name?
The Yellow Rose Weddings.
Awesome.
How on earth did you just decide to start your content creation business? And maybe say a little bit about it, because a lot of us, but before we were doing the podcast, I didn't really even know what that meant.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of our listeners might not know what doing that as a business looks like.
Yeah, so it kind of started, I guess also during COVID. My husband and I bought our first house, and one day we tackled our bathroom renovation on our own in our, brand new house, and it was fine. Everything went well. We got our research. We found out how to cut tiles and change the sink, all that kind of fun stuff. But then a couple days later, because of the poor past contractors' work that we tried to fix, the toilet burst and flooded through our dining room into lower level through the smoke detector in the middle of the dining. And so we spent hours and hours. I mean, we did our cleanup, made sure it was like livable, and then we started researching how to fix it, and we couldn't find anything like how to fix it. We had to like get a whole thing of like replace almost the whole ceiling in our dining room and rent like the big like drywall thing. But we couldn't find any information on it. And all the information on YouTube that my husband could find was super professional companies who, like you guys doing it, that it looks great. And we're like, okay, well, we haven't done this before. We have no idea what we're doing. And there's nothing out there that is showing us how to do this ourselves, because we can't afford to hire somebody. I'm going to say it was like New Year's Eve or something. No one's going to come out then. Like, it was a terrible timing. And so we're like, we have to do this ourselves. So after that, my husband's like, we should start a YouTube channel to tell people that you can do things wrong, and maybe it takes you 15 tries to make it right. But he wanted to show like the imperfect side of DIY, and that normal people could do it. And so that's kind of how we started sharing on Instagram. And also my grandma would call me and be like, I haven't seen your photos on Facebook of your house. And so I was like trying to put all that into one, avenue. And over the years, it's grown into working with really great brands who pay us to, we do content that we don't share for the brands that you might see on their website, and just trying to inform our followers on how to do things by yourself, even though it, like our patio project recently just about broke our spirits. But we did it. And so just showing that whole journey of hard things. We can all do hard things.
Yeah, that's kind of one of our mission statement here is we can do hard things, and it's not always going to be perfect or great, and sometimes you're going to have to resist the urge to burn your house down. And but we can do it. We can do it. But there isn't always a lot of very helpful information out there for non-professional people.
Yeah.
Or someone to say, you might mess it up. And that's going to suck to fix it, but it's okay. And you can fix it.
Yeah. It's hard to have some confidence to do something that you have no idea about. And it takes a lot of tenacity, too. So like your patio project, I'm sure you're like, I have to keep doing this. I have to keep doing this.
Well, I think it's like so important, like you said, for you to just try to do things on your own, because it's not always a matter of not being able to pay for it. But sometimes the thing you want to do, there isn't like, I'm going to call that person.
Yeah.
So if you have like, your toilet exploded and your ceiling has fallen out and your light fixture doesn't work anymore, like that would be 3 people.
Yeah.
And that's not always convenient. And sometimes they won't even take the work if it's a plumber and it's just a toilet, and it's a drywaller but it's just a small section of ceiling, and it's an electrician, it's just one light fixture. At least around here, it can be really difficult to find people to do that. So being able to do those things yourself is a real power move.
Yeah, and then you have to start being the project manager for your project, because you're managing the different trades, which is, if you have no idea what's going on or anything, that can be really unapproachable.
Yeah. And that's also annoying, because when we do it, it's like the plumber has to come do something, and then the electrician can come, and then the drywaller can come, but then the plumber has to come back. And so does the drywaller and the electrician, but they all have to come back after the other person has done something else. And then they can't finish it because the other person has to do something else again.
Yeah.
And they also have a whole other life with other customers and family.
Yeah.
So they don't seem to want to just always come like exactly when you tell them.
I know.
Look, the plumber finished 5 minutes ago. Can you be here in 10 minutes?
Okay, Isabel, so if people didn't have us or you to go to learn how to do stuff, what would be your steps for planning a project? Like, you're like, I don't know how to do this, but I want to do it and I don't want to pay someone to do it. How would you tackle that?
So I think if you are in a non-emergency situation, if water's not flooding from, your ceiling, I would say my first thing is always going to like Instagram or Pinterest and envisioning how to, like, what I want. So, for example, we're planning a big bathroom renovation. Now, we might not get to it for 5 years, but what I'm doing now is I went through and we took measurements of the space. We tracked on our floor plan, like, where all of our electrical lines are. So, as I'm dreaming of, like, how I want the bathroom to be laid out, I know, like, what our Jake tells me, like, you know, you have physics in play. You can't put this here unless we don't really want to, like, move the toilet across the room, because that comes with more. So I kind of strategize logistically, like, what's logically going to work. And then I go to inspiration. If it's design centered, I'll find all my inspiration photos. I'll kind of lay out, kind of like, I loved playing Sims growing up, so I like make it look like a Sims room in my, like, design, so I know exactly how I want it. I go through and I point out to my husband, like, here's how I want the room, and then he'll say, well, you know, if you move the sink over, we're going to have to do X, Y, and Z, which will probably add blank to the budget. So kind of after that, we start talking about what each step of the process is going to cost. So that's your budget conversation. And then we go through and say, like, what can we swap out to make this project cheaper? What can we do ourselves? Most of the stuff, my husband's an electrical engineer, so we're allowed to do a lot of our own electrical work, which saves us a lot. But plumbing is something we're both like, we would rather.
Yeah, that's kind of
scary.
scary.
We can do minor stuff, but we don't want to be rerouting the toilet or like going
into
under the crawl space and rerouting the plumbing. And so I would say, like, your initial, like, brainstorming, your inspiration and design, like, I always like to think, what's my dream scenario, and then I backtrack to, like, how can we make this like, physically, logistically work, and then is it within our budget? So sometimes for a project we set a budget, like, we don't want to spend more than, on the patio we said we don't want to spend more than $10,000, and as we started to, we bought a $10,000 hot tub right away, and we're like, okay, well, we blew our budget immediately for the backyard.
About that budget.
So we need to, like, have this new conversation about what the patio is going to look like. So after that, it was like, let's just find the cheapest options that will still work within our vision. We could have found the cheapest tiles, but we wouldn't have loved it. So we had to make a lot of budget compromises after that. And then we start with, like, our action plan. Like, what is going to take a little bit of time? What do we need to do first? What do we need to hire out? So kind of just like that. I know that's a lot, but...
That's great advice, though. That sounds extremely manageable, and also it's very realistic. Like, thinking about your dream, this is the difference between me and Isabel here, is I'm like, I saw a picture on Instagram and I'm removing the floor. Let's not think about, how do I get this tile? Does it even exist? Is it within any kind of budget? I blew all of my budget on DoorDash. What are we going to do now because we have no floor in the bathroom? But that is a lot more manageable for people who are trying to do things themselves, is to look at what they would like, and maybe they don't have even close to that kind of budget, but maybe they could be like, you know what, this is a little bit similar, and I can add other elements in it, like decorations and stuff, to make it look more this-esque that you were looking for.
I mean, and that's why I think we got into this, I don't know, I wouldn't say niche, but in wedding planning, my couples want, like, say, this rental that's cost similar, like, usually like $6,000. I'm like, there's no way we're fitting this in the budget. So to make it happen, I have just over time become really resourceful and creative at thinking of, like, a budget-friendly alternative. So I think that helps me, like, what's the closest we can do without really getting it, but getting the same vibe. Like, Arly saw I painted these kiddie pools to be, like, these beautiful, like, they're usually these huge brass, like, lotus pools for a pre-wedding celebration. And I was like, I can't get those. We can't afford to import those. Let's come up with an alternative. And so in a project, it's the same way. Like, I really wanted this super expensive tile, but I was like, it's going to take months and months and months to get here. We don't want to wait that long. And also, we wouldn't be able to afford anything else ever if we
You're like, we'll have to take out another mortgage.
And, like, you know, part of our niche as, like, at Bowen's Builds is we do projects together, and we do projects after work. So 95% of the content we're creating, we noticed, it's in the dark.
Yeah.
There's no lights going on. We've invested a lot in lights over the years to like be able to film what we want like outside and stuff. But yeah, it's because we're doing like a little bit at a time after, at 8 p.m. And so I think that also shows that like it's manageable like for everybody to just do a little bit at a time, even though I would love to just one day I went and just ripped up our stairs at our old house, all the carpet, and that created a lot of issues. So doing it a little, because we could only do an hour at a time, so we ended up like walking on half like redone stairs for months.
That sounds like something I would do.
I mean, it's practical. We all are. Us two are licensed builders, and Arly's extremely proficient at this stuff, but there's still stuff in my house that isn't always done and stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that's a super realistic, like, obviously we get our customer projects done timely, but something about DIY is sometimes it just takes a little bit to find the time to do it.
Yeah.
Well, you're busy living a whole other life, and you get home and you're like, I have exactly 2 hours before I can't keep my eyes open. What am I going to do with that time?
Yeah.
And there are lots of demands on our time.
Yeah.
It's easy if you go somewhere, like if you're renovating, well, it's easier if you're renovating at a different location than your house.
Yeah.
Because if you go there, then you're like, okay, I have a certain amount of things here that I have to do. When you're at home, you're like, I have to do this. And then if you're ADHD like I am, you're like, oh my gosh, you know what? I totally forgot to take out the trash and it comes tomorrow. So you have to go on that whole excursion. And then you're like, do 10
Then the dryer buzzer goes off.
Yes. Yeah. And you're like, I forgot that I put down laminate glue 45 minutes ago. And now I need to do something with it before somebody gets stuck in it.
Well, this morning when I was driving to work, it was icy. Like I had to wait in the driveway for like 10 minutes for the ice to melt. And then I got to work, I'm like, I'm only going to be here for 10 minutes, so I'm going to leave my car running. Otherwise it will literally ice over in the time I'm inside. And then an hour later,
oh my God,
Allison goes out. She's like, do you know your car is running? So that's exactly what I do. I'm like, I'm recording TikToks while my car is outside running. I'm like, glad it's still here. Jeez. Yeah. But that's real. I mean, everybody is just having a job, whatever it is they do to make life work, and then wanting to do other things too. And you have to be able to embrace that, kind of tackling it little bit by little bit.
There's been this thing I've been thinking about the last few years, and I think I must have saw it back on Tumblr in the days of Tumblr. That was like, the time's gonna pass no matter what you're doing. And so I think like thinking about your dream home and where you're at now can be really discouraging. But if you work on it like little bits at a time, and even if it's only an hour a week, like that time's gonna pass whether you do that or not. And I think it's great to think about it in a way that like, I'm going to take this little chunk now to get me to my goal, not being depressed about not being there, but taking the time. Like with your patio, if you're only doing it after work, it takes a long time to do that, but you're still picking at the progress. And I think, not to be super woo-woo hippie, but it really is about the journey with these things. And you can, I love how you start with a roadmap of like, this is the end goal, because it can feel like you really get lost in the project and all the details, especially the patio, because you have to like rent a tamper and tamper the ground before you can even start laying stuff. And then you have to add patio sand and all these things. And that can feel so overwhelming. But if you're like, here's my vision for the end, and here's my goal for the end, it's like, you're a marathon and each step gets you closer.
Well, and if you break it down too, you can put it into your calendar around weddings and days when you're babysitting friends' kids, and when you're scheduled to go out to dinner or traveling home for Christmas. You can plug it into your calendar like, this part of the project is going to take both of us a day to do, and where can I plug that in? It's a little easier than like you just walk out on a Saturday like, what are we doing today?
Oh, that's what I do. And let me tell you, friends, it is a struggle.
Well, yeah, we have a lot of, I was reviewing old content recently for a brand, and there's a lot of videos where I'm like, we have an hour before we go to dinner with friends. We're like in our nice clothes, like out there chipping away at something. And Jake, there's a really viral clip of Jake mowing the lawn 30 minutes before he hosted a wedding in our backyard. Like our best friends got married in our backyard and he's mowing the lawn. And so, yeah, I think it took us a while to get into that flow too. Like to chip away and plan for it. And, what makes it difficult sometimes is, we were expecting pavers in April and we didn't end up getting them until like June. So we had to put a lot of things on hold, reorganize things. Still we were able to like chip away at other little things before we went back and, were able to finally lay down the pavers. So
what is one of maybe your favorite projects that you've done in your house? Like, because you've done projects that are functional and like added things to your house that are design-esque and like beautiful.
Yeah.
What is something that is your favorite and maybe that you would encourage other people to do?
Ooh. My favorite, while the patio project is like our least favorite, is also our favorite because we moved into our new house. The backyard was like a little swamp area. You couldn't go back there and the mosquitoes were so bad. It was so gross. We have terracing, so you can't really use most of the backyard. And so I think the patio, because now we entertain so much, we have people over like every weekend. And so being able to use that space has been really, really great. And we're still chipping away on it. Mom and Dad just visited and we built the stairs so we could finally use the top terrace.
Yeah,
we're going to put a fire pit up there. And so I think that, and I guess my advice would be that was our first priority because that's where everybody's going. When
That's
people
your
come
biggest
over,
pain point.
at our old house, we were always on the deck and we gave up, our beautiful deck for the new house. And so we were like, okay, we're going to spend most of our time in the bedroom and the kitchen and the patio. And before we even moved our bed over, we had redone the flooring in our master bedroom and painted so that we were ready to live in that space. And so that our everyday space, like I always talk about, your bedroom should be task free. Your laundry basket shouldn't be sitting there.
Nice.
You shouldn't have like your active projects. That'll make you like rest better if you don't. Maybe that's my OCD too, but like you don't think about all your like things going on.
I think that's true.
That.
I said even push the laundry basket in your hallway at night because you'll feel better.
Dude, I need to start doing that.
Yeah, try that.
Jace is gonna be like, why is everything everywhere except the bedroom?
You start to push it out, but you get distracted, so then you just leave it right in the middle of the doorway, and Jace trips over it in the middle of the night.
Exactly. Ours is on wheels, so I just push it in the
Give it a good push, and it goes rolling away.
But yeah, it's we focused on that, so it was task free, so we could, rest. And then we made the kitchen manageable. Like we still have a big project, but that was the space we could use. And then the patio, because since we did it, we're out there all the time. And our foreseeable upcoming renovations are for the patio. Like we have a grill station because he grills every time. Like we're making sure the furniture is functional. So I think my advice would be think of where you're what space you're using the most, what your daily grievances are. Like I made a list at the old house of things that piss me off every day. And I tackled those. I was like, this door pisses me off every time I open it and it doesn't close all the way. Like I made sure that was on the list. So, start a daily grievance list and start a where do I spend my time list. And I would say tackle that first because you'll feel a lot better even if, our upstairs carpet pisses me off. But it only pisses me off once a week when I walk upstairs to do something.
Yeah.
Versus the cleaning closet door that never shuts all the way.
Yeah.
One of the most remarkable things I think about your journey is how you've managed to transition from, you said you had a more traditional career where you worked for a company and did wedding planning. And now you have your own wedding planning company and also you do content creation and you were able to make the transition out of that traditional role. I think that's really hard to break out of. Normally when you think about, I need to be able to buy groceries, you're looking for what job does a company have to offer me. And once you've started that and you still have bills to pay, it can be hard to make that transition. So can you talk a little bit about the actual, the concrete steps that you took to get out of that, corporate role and into what you wanted to do yourself?
So I was working at a job that I really loved before COVID, and I was burnt out. I was working 80 hours a week. It was a lot. And so during COVID, we had a slower season. So I think I had the opportunity to test out the contract work for this corporate company. And so I also got married right after that, and we can sustain off of Jake's income. So I think I'm very blessed in that he was like, quit your job. you hate it. And we'll figure it out. And so I think the transit, like, I feel very blessed that I was able to have my spouse like support me while I just did whatever I wanted for a little bit. But I think like telling somebody else to do that would be, if just interviewing around to see like if there's, you can, if you're saying I want to leave my corporate job for wedding planning, go on the weekends and start like pimping yourself out. Am I allowed to say pimping yourself out?
Yeah, you're fine.
Go.
We might bleep that one out. Or we might just leave it in.
If you want to explore like a different industry, I would say then inquire with that new industry maybe on the weekends. Like for wedding planning, for example, go interview with a wedding planner. You can do it on the weekends. You can see if that's something that you want to do, so that making that leap into a new industry is different. I will also say, I'm sure you guys are aware, starting your own business is a feat of itself. And
Yes.
so I think you really have to be very passionate about what you're doing to love that. And I think just like, the whole making sure you're budgeting and you're saving, like to be able to, if you do take, 6 months off of work to see if your new path is working out, like do some pre-planning. Not all of our type B people are maybe gonna
Maybe
write it out.
don't quit your job
Until you know you love it,
until at least you know that you like that new passion.
Yeah.
I am quitting to be a professional crocheter.
You're not allowed to quit.
But
Sorry.
you could, and then you might find out it barely pays.
Yeah.
They will pay you less than what you spent on yarn. Crocheting really is a labor of love.
Yeah.
I know. I thought about that this Christmas. I was like, this is really just the only purpose of this is to show people that I love them.
Absolutely.
There isn't anything else to
Well,
it.
last Christmas I asked for crochet supplies for Christmas, so a year ago, and taught myself how to crochet. And I'm working on my 10th blanket of the year. But the amount of time and yarn, it's like 60 to 75 hours and like $150 in yarn. So if I would have to charge like $1,200 for a blanket if I was going to make any money. So yeah, it's definitely one of those things. I do it for my own enjoyment.
Yeah.
Yeah, but some of the things that we enjoy can turn into a career. And I think handymamming is a great example. I belong to a nationwide group of handy people. It's like 13,000 people all across the country. And a lot of them, their story is they have a job they don't totally love. They want to do something else. And so they start doing it on the weekends and the evenings. So they can kind of test, first of all, do I like this? Second of all, does it pay? Third of all, can I manage the details of it? And there have been a lot of stories of people going from part-time to full-time. And I'm talking about handy people because that's my experience. But it can be like that in any field. I mean, you could be in wedding planning already and want to do wedding planning for yourself instead of someone else. So you've developed a very specialized niche for your wedding planning company, and you maybe wouldn't have been able to do that if you worked for someone else. So you kind of start that on the side and turn that into something that can support your family, and that can apply to other things too. I think Emily's a great example. She doesn't love to do graphic design. It's not real top on her list, like in terms of designing websites and things. But like if Emily got tired of Arly and I, she could like start pimping herself.
Okay, if I'm not allowed to quit, she's definitely not allowed.
No, well, yeah, this is hypothetical. Neither one of you is allowed to quit. But I'm just saying she has a skill set, and you're an artist. I mean, you could absolutely begin, Arly, to do other things too. You're not allowed to.
My mom
but you
tried in high school to get me to like sell things because I was like always crafting. Man, oh man, was I crafting. Good things, bad things, beautiful things, super, super ugly things. And my mom was like, just make 75,000 of these. And I was like, I already made 2, I'm bored.
Yeah,
And she's like, but if you make a bunch, we can sell them. And I was like, I'm not hustling, Mom. She was like, I'm just crafting away over here.
That's a great example of the difference between like a type A and a type B person, because I'm very much type A. And so
You're like, I'm making 10 blankets in a year.
yeah, I started
my
I
gosh.
started to crochet, and then Arly was like, will you teach me to crochet? So I taught her, and then she's making arumagumi and all these other like specialty things, and I'm like, dude, I learned how to make a blanket. I'm going to make blankets because it's production level crocheting. And
Okay.
Arly's like, you get like a third of the way through a blanket, and you're like, this is boring, I'm done.
Okay, I tried to make a 12 by 18 and square for a baby lovey. It's not even big enough to be a baby blanket. And it took me 3 days after work. And I almost threw myself off my roof. I was so close to being like, Samantha, will you please crochet this for me? Because it'd probably take you 25 minutes. But it was the same stitch over and over and over again. And I was like, I do not like this.
And I love that so much. When I learn a skill, I'm like, I'm going to use this skill.
Yeah.
And you're just like, well, that skill's done. Throw it out the window.
I know.
I need a new one.
Like, I have used that one up, and it's time to learn all the other ones, and I'll relearn this one. I forget it.
You're one of those people that when they have your estate sale, you're going to have supplies for 40 different kinds of crafts.
That's true. And when my parents have their estate sale, I'm going to acquire all of their things because I have not only done what my parents have done, which is get heavily involved in a lot of very niche things. But I have taken all of the things that my mom loves and all of the things that my dad loves, and I've combined them. And so now I have crocheting, sewing, woodworking, leatherworking, all this stuff that, like, nobody ever needs to know, but I sure do know how to do it now. Collecting milk bottles, like milk jars.
You need to tell your landlord you need a shed.
I do need a shed.
Landlord.
Well, this has been fantastic, Isabel.
Yeah,
You're
it's so nice
such
to have you here.
Yeah, it's such an inspiration to just hear the story of how somebody got from where they were to where they wanted to be.
Mm-hmm. I feel like a lot of people are gonna relate to having a busy life. You have 2 pets, you have a husband, you have friends, you have another business.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you busy. And breaking things down, taking things like one bite at a time is really like good advice, which, you know, I personally am not sure if I could take that advice because I'm really impulsive and impatient. But if I were smart, I would. But it is nice to hear you break it down like that because I see all of your posts and you make like a lot of really beautiful things and like spaces really cozy and like designed well and stuff like that. So it's nice to hear how you start and how you make it happen. When some of us are a little bit more flailing in the wind type situation. My execution is poor, but
your ideas are there.
Yeah, the ideas are there.
Well, if you want to learn how to just start with small things and build on that, then join us this Friday for our regular episode. And thanks for joining us today.
And you can find Isabel on Bowen's Bills. Mwah!